Once racked by insurgency related incidents, northeastern states are witnessing a sharp decline in violence. A report prepared by the Ministry of Home Affairs claimed that there has been an 80% reduction in insurgency related incidents. But experts believe that peace may not last long if the center treats it merely as an economic problem. They say that problems in the Northeast are political and social and need a permanent solution. The recent attacks on security forces also indicate that violent incidents may increase. To understand the situation in Northeast, Times of India spoke to former bureaucrat and Northeast expert Dr. RK Nimai.
Insurgency policy is still there, but the number of violent activities, incidents have gone down drastically. That is as per the data available, and that the common man also who are in the northeast also feels that there has been a perceptible decrease in the number of violent incidents. So what the MHA have been saying is borne by the data. And there are many reasons. One is that the number of youths which are joining the underground movement have gone down. Perhaps the younger generation have felt that it is more important to be financially and academically viable rather than going for a movement which may or may not result in an outcome. And another is the problem in Myanmar, because most of our underground groups are based in Myanmar. Because of the trouble in Myanmar, they are keeping their profile pretty low because they can't be seen to be supporting either the Myanmar government or the people's movement. There's the belief that poor economic development leads to insurgency is a very simplistic approach towards the problem. The problem is much more deep-seated. It is political in nature rather than economic in nature. Say, in Nagaland, they are demanding a separate constitution, separate flag. In Manipur, the valley-based undergrounds are demanding a sovereign state. The Kukis are demanding a separate state. So these are political in nature, and to treat the members of the underground movement as misguided youth is rather unfortunate and not correct, because many of them are deeply concerned about the state of affairs, and they are very, very committed and even willing to lay their life. Somebody who is willing to lay their life for their conviction just can't be called misguided youth. So the Malayas is much deeper, and to claim that because of the economic development that is taking place, that the insurgency have drastically gone down, I think that will be a very simplistic reading of the problem. Say for the UG groups also, they have to show their presence. So one of the acts for showing their presence is ambush of security forces, and this will continue. It will be far and in between, but this will continue because that indicates that their presence is still there and they are still working towards their goal. Whether the number of violent incidents will increase or not will depend on the situation, both in India as well as what is happening in Myanmar. If the situation in Myanmar stabilizes and the UG groups of India based in Myanmar get the support of those which are in power, then there is likelihood that the number of violent incidents can increase. But I, I dare to say that it will increase or that it will be as a status quo will be very difficult because the variables are very, very high and it will be very difficult to predict at this juncture. Myanmar, even though the government in Yangon may be willing and is supporting the government of India, the local commanders, the local administration, and many of the areas in Yangon, in Myanmar, are not accessible to the security forces or the administration. So there are uh, areas where any group, anybody can go and hide. So, these, particularly in the northern stretches of Myanmar and on the western stretches of Myanmar, because the jungles are thick, communication is extremely poor. So if the army wants to go, then everybody knows that the army is coming. So they have to organize a big tamasha for a brigade or a battalion to move. So, uh, government of the Myanmarese government have said that they will not allow the Indian insurgents to stay there. That is their intent. But at the ground, it is impossible for them to. And why should they waste money, man, to chase out some groups which are not affecting them, who are staying there for the benefit of their neighbors? That they will not do. India has given lots of financial support for that, but India also needs to work out a strategy if they want a more effective way of soliciting the help of the Myanmarese government. This insurgency has been there for the last 70 years in the hills, and for the last 40 years in the valley. And to sustain such a long period of time, there has to be certain social political issues. Uh, as regard how this should be settled, it is only by way of talk, through negotiation. Uh, say in ASEAN, the talk is going on for the last 25 years, but still it reduces the number of violent incidents and people are able to conduct their business, though there are lots of heavy taxation by the underground groups. But the only way forward is to talk. And to talk, the government of India, as the main body, has to be uh, more accommodative and to be more proactive to ensure that the groups come to the negotiating table. Uh, Situation, uh, say there can be various workable models which can reduce the violent activity or even bring to an understanding and close the chapter of insurgency in the northeast. And we can't follow a model. People are talking about a Sami model in Scandinavian countries and all. The solution has to be the Northeast specific rather than borrowing from another one. So for that, one have to continue negotiation, talking, understand the problems, understand the desire, because it is uh, negotiation means give and take. One cannot be the giver and another cannot be only the taker. There has to be a give and take between both the parties. And I think with time, you see, with better understanding, I think a solution can be brought about. But that needs a very, very proactive initiative from the federal government side.